Welcome back. Lincoln currency. In the vast, glittering world of coin collecting, value is never just about face value. A penny can be worth more than a fortune, and sometimes, what you hold in your hand as a common object can actually be a window into the past, a piece of art, a reflection of history, and, under the right circumstances, a ticket to unimaginable wealth. That's exactly the case with one of the most talked about and increasingly mysterious coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint, the 1981 Lincoln cent. Small in size, humble in function, yet possibly worth as much as $765 million under the right conditions. It sounds unbelievable, but the deeper you dig, the more fascinating it becomes. At first glance, the 1981 penny seems like nothing more than loose change, a reddish-brown coin you might find in an old ashtray or rolling around the back seat of a car. But look closer. Examine the texture, the sound it makes when dropped, the weight in your palm, the way the light bounces off Lincoln's profile. There is something special about this coin, something you don't notice until you understand how it came to be. To begin that journey, we need to travel back more than 4 decades, to a time when the United States was experiencing intense economic pressure, the cost of raw materials was rising sharply, and the future of one of the nation's most iconic coins was uncertain. The year was 1981. The Reagan administration had just taken office. Inflation was high, unemployment was rising, and the United States Mint was facing a dilemma. The cost of producing a penny, due to the rising price of copper, was quickly outpacing its face value. It no longer made financial sense to manufacture a 1-cent coin that cost more than a cent to produce. And yet, despite all that, the Mint continued for one last year to strike the beloved Lincoln cent in its traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy. That year would mark the end of an era. By mid-1982, the U.S. Mint had transitioned to a cheaper composition, copper-plated zinc, which remains the standard today. So, every 1981 penny is essentially one of the last of the heavy copper lineage, and the ones struck in Denver, marked by the little d beneath the year, have become particularly interesting to collectors, historians, and even investors. Let's focus on that tiny detail, the D mint mark. It may seem insignificant, but this small letter indicates that the coin was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the primary coin-producing facilities in the U.S. Denver was known for both high volume and high-quality output. In 1981 alone, the Denver Mint produced over 5.3 billion pennies. Yes, billion, with a B. So, you might ask, how could any of these coins, produced in such astronomical quantities, be worth more than their weight in copper, more than $1, more than 1,000, or even millions? The answer lies in the beautiful unpredictability of coin production, and the incredible quirks that happen along the way. When we talk about coin value in the numismatic world, we're not just looking at mintage numbers. We're looking at condition, grade, rarity, strike quality, and anomalies, those beautiful, mysterious errors that slip through quality control and into circulation. A double die. A misaligned die. A wrong planchet. A repunched mint mark. Even a transitional error struck on an experimental metal blend. These mistakes, often made during changes in design, metal content, or minting machinery, can transform an ordinary coin into something truly priceless. The 1981 penny exists right at this crossroads. Not only is it from the last year of full copper usage, but there are whispers and documented cases of error coins, experimental strikes, and anomalies that defy classification. These rare instances have already fetched thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, at auction, and some experts believe that a coin from this very batch, in a unique, flawless condition or with a never-before-seen error, could break every known record. Imagine a penny that never should have existed, struck on the wrong blank, or with a die that had been modified for testing a new alloy. Imagine it leaving the mint by accident, slipping through the cracks, ending up in someone's change jar for decades, forgotten until someone finally looks at it through a magnifier. This isn't fantasy, it's happened before. The 1943 bronze penny. The 1955 double die. The 1974 aluminum cent. All examples of coins that defied the rules and became legends. And in 1981, with the mint preparing for a fundamental change in the penny's composition, the stage was perfectly set for something extraordinary to happen. But even setting aside errors and anomalies, condition alone can turn a regular 1981 D penny into a serious investment. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless specimen. A standard circulated 1981 D penny might be worth a cent or two. But in mint state, especially MS66, MS67, or higher, the value increases dramatically. And for a rare specimen in MS68 with full red luster and no contact marks, we're talking about extreme rarity. The population of such coins is incredibly low. In fact, fewer than a handful may exist in that condition. The scarcity of top-graded examples drives fierce competition among collectors and investors. Auctions have seen these coins go for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, with projections suggesting that a perfect or near-perfect specimen combined with a known mint error could achieve a seven-figure sale. Then there's the legend of the phantom 1981 D cent, the mythical coin whispered about in elite collector circles. Allegedly, a penny struck at the Denver Mint in 1981 using a foreign alloy meant for another country's coinage or a leftover blank from a previous year. A hybrid. An accident. Or a test. No one knows for sure. But reports of a coin with strange weight, unusual ring, and non-standard coloration have surfaced. Only one or two examples have been authenticated by top grading agencies like PCGS and NGC. Others remain elusive, lost, misidentified, or sitting in private collections undiscovered. And if one were to appear in a pristine, untouched state, bright, untouched copper, sharp details, original mint luster, flawless fields, it would ignite the kind of bidding war we've rarely seen in coin history. We're talking art auction level bidding. Institutions would get involved. Museums. Billionaires. Hedge funds. That $765 million figure wouldn't be fantasy, it would be a possibility. The 1981 D penny represents more than just a coin. It's the last breath of an old tradition. A final call before the curtain closed on nearly a century of copper-based coinage. It carries with it the weight of a nation's economic transformation, the legacy of Lincoln, and the artistry of designers like Victor David Brenner and Frank Gasparo. Its face is known by every American. Its presence is constant. But its story? That's still unfolding. Somewhere in those 5.3 billion coins, history lies waiting. Not just the past, but a potential future, a discovery yet to be made. And the world is watching, and so, the search continues. Coin collectors comb through old rolls, flip through jars, scan estate sales, and scrutinize every cent that passes through their hands. Hoping. Hunting. Listening for the ring of pure copper. Feeling for the weight. Watching for that gleam. Because deep down, we all want to believe that maybe, just maybe, one of those common coins isn't common at all. That one of them, quiet, copper, and worn, holds a secret. A secret that could change everything. And as the journey of discovery winds deeper into the world of this small but potent coin, we find ourselves faced with the realization that the 1981 D Lincoln cent represents something far greater than its humble origins. While the average person sees a coin they would casually drop in a vending machine, the numismatist sees something altogether different, a hidden gem buried in the everyday, a sleeping giant among billions, a coin that may very well hold the distinction of being one of the rarest and most sought-after collectibles in modern mint history. As collectors well know, the value of a coin is never determined by numbers alone. It's a strange, delicate mixture of scarcity, timing, history, condition, and mystery. All of these factors orbit around the 1981 D Lincoln cent like planets around a star. Minted in the final year before the composition change, it has an importance few casual observers can grasp. That tiny D under the date is more than a mint mark, it's a symbol of a moment in time. Denver was operating at full capacity, preparing for a fundamental shift in U.S. coinage. Pressure was mounting. Mistakes were possible. And in those moments of pressure and speed, numismatic history is often born. Even now, decades later, seasoned collectors still examine 1981 cents under microscopes and digital magnifiers, inspecting every edge, every letter, every tiny imperfection that might reveal an overlooked treasure. The thrill of finding a double die obverse, where Lincoln's features are subtly duplicated, creating a ghost-like overlay on his face, is real and exhilarating. To the trained eye, such an error transforms the coin from common to elite. And while no major double die varieties have been officially catalogued for the 1981 penny, rumors and unconfirmed reports continue to circulate, compelling collectors to remain vigilant, hopeful, and relentless, but error coins are only part of the story. The legend of the 1981 coin also stems from the transitional anomalies that can occur during years of change. Remember, 1982 was the year the U.S. Mint shifted from copper to copper-plated zinc. That transition wasn't instant. It required experimentation, testing, and production trials. There's reason to believe that some of those transitional tests may have occurred earlier than official records admit. If a 1981 cent were struck on one of these experimental planchets, say, a copper-plated zinc blank being tested ahead of the switch, it would be a true numismatic anomaly. A coin that bridges two monetary eras. Such a coin, authenticated and preserved, would be priceless. Not because it was made to be valuable, but because it wasn't supposed to exist at all, and that's what elevates the 1981 cent from the ordinary to the mythic. Not just what it is, but what it might be. What it represents. The possibility. The chance. The whisper of something rare hiding in plain sight. In that sense, the 1981 is the ultimate collector's coin, not for what's known, but for what might be discovered. It's the numismatic version of buried treasure. And treasure, once found, has the power to change lives. Think about it. Somewhere, perhaps right now, in an old roll of coins from a bank, in a forgotten drawer, in a stash passed down from a grandparent, there could be a single 1981 penny with an unlisted error, a perfect grade, a once-in-a-lifetime feature that no one has yet documented. Maybe it's been touched only once. Maybe it was sealed in a plastic holder the day it was minted and has never been exposed to air since. Maybe it has full red luster, sharp strike lines, not a single blemish under 100x magnification. That would make it a population of one. The only one of its kind. And in the rare coin world, population equals power. When the population is one, the value becomes limitless. That brings us to the market, an ever-shifting ecosystem of buyers, sellers, institutions, auction houses, private collectors, and opportunists. This market doesn't just follow trends, it creates them. The demand for rare coins has exploded in recent years, driven not only by longtime collectors but by a new wave of investors seeking tangible assets in a volatile financial world. Coins, especially U.S. coins with known rarity and historical significance, are now viewed as alternative investments, on par with fine art, luxury real estate, and rare cars. They're insured, secured, cataloged, and passed from one elite collector to another, often with confidentiality clauses that conceal the identity of the buyer or the price paid. It's within this high-stakes environment that the 1981 penny begins to take on a new light. As more collectors awaken to its significance, as stories of rare specimens sell at auction for tens of thousands of dollars, as mystery variants continue to emerge and fascinate, the legend grows. And that $765 million number, the number that sounds absurd at first, suddenly doesn't seem so far-fetched. After all, it only takes one discovery. One perfectly preserved coin. One historic anomaly that gets certified, authenticated, and validated by the experts. Then the media takes hold. The numismatic world turns its gaze. And history is made. We've seen it before. The 1933 double eagle, once declared illegal to own, now the most expensive coin ever sold. The 1794 flowing hair dollar, believed to be the first silver dollar struck by the U.S. Mint, sold for over $10 million. A penny from 1943, struck in bronze rather than steel, went for $1.7 million. Coins with stories, with mystery, with errors, they are catnip for collectors and gold for investors. If a unique 1981 D penny can rise to that level, with the right error, in the right grade, with the right story, it could absolutely command a price that seems unimaginable today, but you don't need to be a billionaire to get excited about the 1981 D cent. You just need curiosity. The knowledge that this coin, this little disc of copper, may still be out there in the wild, waiting to be found. That every jar of change is a lottery ticket. That every coin roll might hide history. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just a hobby. It's a hunt. A lifelong, global treasure hunt played by millions with microscopes and magnifiers, flashlights and scales, dreams and patience, and this is why the 1981 D continues to inspire so much attention. Its position in history, the timing of its creation, the mystery surrounding it, and the stories still unfolding around it make it one of the most exciting coins of its kind. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist with a vault full of graded specimens or a curious beginner checking pocket change for the first time, the 1981 D penny holds something for you. A challenge. A secret. A potential fortune, and so, as we continue this journey into the world of the Lincoln cent, let's remember that value isn't just measured in dollars or in precious metals. It's measured in meaning, in mystery, and in the stories that coins can tell. The 1981 D penny is still telling its story. Every time one is pulled from circulation, scrutinized under a lens, sent off to be graded, or bought at auction, the story gets richer, more complex, and more valuable. And who knows? Maybe tomorrow, someone will find the coin that changes everything. Maybe it's you. As we move further into the story of the 1981 D Lincoln cent, the focus shifts from speculation and history into the realm of measurable rarity and market structure. In the world of coin collecting, value isn't only built on mystery or legend. It's built, layer by layer, on the back of hard data, on grading reports, population numbers, certified registry sets, auction records, and the psychology of those who collect. The 1981 D penny, on the surface a mass-produced copper coin from a transitional era, has managed to slowly rise in prestige among collectors, in part because of how it scores across these very categories. Let's begin with coin grading. Every collector knows that condition is king. Two identical coins from the same year, mint, and composition can differ dramatically in value if one is more pristine than the other. This is where professional grading services come into play, most notably the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC. These companies authenticate and encapsulate coins in tamper-proof holders and assign them a grade based on their strike, luster, surface preservation, and eye appeal. The scale runs from 1 to 70, and for modern coins like the 1981 D Lincoln cent, anything below MS-60 typically has minimal market interest. It's only when coins reach grades of MS-65 and higher that the interest truly begins to build. The real magic happens when a coin crosses into the MS-67 and MS-68 territory. These are the elite ranks. The specimens with full, blazing red color. No contact marks under magnification. Razor-sharp strikes with crisp lettering and a glass-smooth finish on Lincoln's portrait and the Lincoln Memorial. These are coins that look like they were just ejected from the dies yesterday, absolute time capsules. And with each increase in grade, the number of existing coins plummets. According to population reports from PCGS, the number of 1981 D Lincoln cents that have been certified at MS-67 red is already low. Those at MS-68? Even scarcer. The number certified at MS-69? Virtually non-existent. And MS-70, the theoretical perfect coin? So far, not a single confirmed 1981 D penny has been graded at that level. That leaves open the possibility, however slim, that a perfect example could still be out there, waiting to be found. That's what makes this coin so fascinating. It's not just a relic of a bygone minting process. It's a challenge. A question. A riddle, even. Because if just one 1981 D Lincoln cent were to surface in a certified MS-70 grade, it would be a first-of-its-kind discovery. Collectors, dealers, auction houses, they would all descend upon it. The news would travel fast through the coin forums, through press releases from the grading companies, across social media. That coin would become legend overnight. And legends command staggering prices. Now imagine if that perfect coin wasn't just perfect in grade, but also featured a legitimate mint error or a previously unknown die variety. Let's say it bore a double die reverse, or was struck on an experimental planchet, or had a dramatic off-center strike that somehow remained pristine. The value would rise exponentially. Not just because of its rarity, but because of its singularity. Coins like that do not merely get sold, they get auctioned. They get chased by wealthy collectors building registry sets, by museums seeking national treasures, by speculators, and even by people who've never collected coins in their life but understand one thing: scarcity creates value, and then there's the emotional element. Never underestimate the power of passion in a collector's market. The Lincoln cent is not just another coin. It's perhaps the most iconic American denomination in circulation. It's personal. It's nostalgic. Every American has handled a penny. Every child has dropped one into a piggy bank. Every shopper has had one handed back as change. And Abraham Lincoln is not just any president. He's a symbol of unity, of freedom, of leadership during crisis. That deep emotional connection fuels demand in ways that go beyond logic. And when emotional demand intersects with proven rarity, the value ceiling vanishes. Think about other examples. Why did a Honus Wagner baseball card, just ink on cardboard, sell for over $7 million? Why did a comic book, the first appearance of Superman, fetch over $3 million? Because rarity, combined with emotion, drives value beyond material. A 1981 D Lincoln cent may be made of common metals. But if it becomes a symbol of an era, a representation of a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, a piece of American culture that slipped unnoticed through the cracks of history, then suddenly, its value is not bound to logic. It becomes art. It becomes artifact. And in the right hands, at the right moment, in the right economic climate, it could reach a sale price as unimaginable as $765 million. This isn't an exaggeration. This is market dynamics. In an age where digital images have sold for millions, where cryptocurrency memes move markets, and where rare sneakers fetch 5 figures, why would it be so surprising for a singular, historically significant coin with a national symbol and global recognition to breach previous auction records? And consider this: unlike stocks or art, rare coins have a long, proven track record of maintaining and increasing value over time. They are tangible, finite, and immune to the whims of digital disruption. They can't be hacked. They don't rely on electricity. They can be held, admired, and passed down. Coins are legacy. And the 1981 D cent has all the hallmarks of a legacy piece, especially as new generations begin to collect, research, and invest in physical history. Now imagine being the one who finds it. Not a billionaire. Not a professional dealer. But a student, a retiree, a curious kid. Someone who picks up a penny off the ground, feels its weight, notices the shine, and decides to take a closer look. Maybe they weigh it. Maybe they notice the color, or the details in Lincoln's coat, or a strange doubling in the letters. Maybe they send it off to be graded, not expecting much. And then, confirmation. A grade that's never been seen. An error that's never been recorded. A population of one. The only one. And just like that, everything changes. It's not fantasy. It's happened before. And it will happen again. The only question is when. And who? Because the 1981 D Lincoln cent is out there. Maybe in circulation. Maybe already in someone's collection, overlooked and underestimated. Maybe in a forgotten envelope inside an attic trunk. Waiting. Watching. holding a value that most people wouldn't believe unless they saw it with their own eyes, and in that moment of discovery, of confirmation, authentication, and realization, the myth becomes real. And the world takes notice. Not just the coin community, but the financial world. The art world. The media. The 1981 D. Lincoln cent becomes the headline. The topic of conversation on morning shows and market roundtables. And when the bidding begins, when one buyer offers 50 million, and another offers 100, when the hammer falls and the final price flashes across screens around the globe, that's when a small, copper coin with a D under the date will officially become the most valuable penny the world has ever known, and the legend of the $765 million cent will be sealed forever. To understand why a single 1981 D. Lincoln cent could command the kind of attention, desire, and astronomical valuation that would baffle economists and delight collectors, we must take a step back. Not just into mint records or collector forums, but deeper, into the essence of what this coin represents. For this is not merely a coin, nor simply a 1-cent denomination. This is a monument in miniature, a slab of meaning pressed into metal, a symbol that has lived in the hands and pockets of over a century of Americans. To grasp its full power, we must explore the man on the obverse, the face that greets us on every penny since 1909, the quiet strength of Abraham Lincoln. Victor David Brenner's portrait of Lincoln is not simply a profile. It's a reflection of a man carved into American identity. Introduced in 1909, to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth, this design was revolutionary. It was the first time in U.S. history that a real person, a president, no less, had been featured on a circulating coin. At the time, it was a bold and controversial choice. But the decision to feature Lincoln signaled something permanent. Something revered. Something moral. His calm, resolute profile, turned slightly to the right, eyes forward, beard strong, brows knit in thought, it's not just a likeness. It's an embodiment of American values, and since that moment, for over 100 years, Lincoln's face has watched over economic history. Through world wars, depressions, recessions, booms, elections, cultural revolutions, and every small, everyday transaction from a child's first bubblegum to a billionaire's final tax payment, Lincoln has been there. Present. Stoic. Reliable. His image, rendered in copper, has witnessed more American life than most living beings ever could. The 1981 D. Lincoln cent, then, is not just a coin. It's a continuation of this extraordinary legacy, and one of the last to be struck in the heavy, warm, earthy metal that defined the early 20th century minting standard. And then there's the reverse. The Lincoln Memorial. A neoclassical temple, carved in brilliant detail on the back of every penny from 1959 until the bicentennial redesign in 2009. Designed by Frank Gasparo, this depiction of the memorial is more than architectural. It's a bridge between the real and the symbolic. There, beneath the coppery sheen, sits the only coin reverse in U.S. history where the subject of the obverse, Lincoln himself, is actually pictured again, deep within the central chamber of the memorial. That tiny seated statue, so small you can only see it with magnification, is a design marvel. Lincoln both in close-up and in tribute. A man and a monument. A president and a prophet of freedom, captured twice in copper on the same coin. This dual presence gives the Lincoln cent a depth no other coin carries. There's an almost sacred continuity in it. The face and the legacy. The man and the memory. And the 1981 D version, coming just before the metal was changed, before the sound of the penny was forever altered, before its weight would lighten and its character shift, is a sort of last edition of the full-bodied, symbolic cent. A farewell, without announcement, to a minting era that had endured for generations. This is part of what makes the 1981 D cent resonate so deeply. It's not just rare in the statistical sense. It's rare in the spiritual sense. It's the last of a tradition. The last time you could hold a penny in your hand and know, without doubt, that it contained the same metallic heart as the ones your parents, your grandparents, and your great-grandparents once carried. The last time the sound of a dropped penny had that unmistakable copper ring. The last time the coin felt full, felt real, felt grounded in something ancient and authentic. And here's something else worth reflecting on: Americans love Lincoln. Not just for his historical achievements, but for his character. His humility. His wisdom. His tragedy. His triumph. We revere him. We quote him. We walk beneath his statue in Washington with awe. And his face, unlike any other, has become a symbol of American virtue, of honesty, of principle. The fact that this penny still carries that face makes it different from any other coin. And the fact that the 1981 D was among the last to carry it in its original copper form gives it a weight, a gravity, an emotional pull that transcends economics. There's a certain poetry to it. That in a time when inflation was climbing, when the cost of production was rising, when the very value of money was in flux, this coin, a penny, still bore the image of the man who saved the Union. A man who understood struggle. Who led in times of uncertainty. A man who became more than just a president. He became a guiding symbol. That same spirit lives in the 1981 D penny, and even though it was struck by machines and stamped by automated dies, it carries, in its tiny frame, a depth that continues to echo long after its minting. In a modern world where digital transactions dominate, and physical currency becomes less and less relevant, the Lincoln cent remains stubbornly iconic. We keep them, even when we don't need to. We drop them into jars. We collect them in rolls. We slip them into albums. We tape them onto birthday cards. We press them into souvenirs at museums. Why? Because it means something. Because it's familiar. Because it carries the weight of history. A single cent, useless in most retail settings, still matters to us in ways we can't always explain, and if one such cent, one quiet, copper disc from Denver, dated 1981, emerges with a secret, with a flaw, with a freak accident of perfection or anomaly, it will not only matter. It will matter more than most things ever printed, minted, or sold. It will be a cent that changes everything. And it won't do so because of what it's made of. It will do so because of what it means. We often think of collectibles as trinkets, hobbies, distractions. But the truth is, we collect because we want to remember. We want to feel connected to something larger than ourselves. We want to hold time in our hands. A rare book. A faded photograph. A soldier's dog tag. A coin. Especially a coin. Because coins are touched by everyone. They pass through hands. They cross borders. They carry fingerprints, oil, dirt, stories. They are economic instruments, yes, but they are also cultural fossils. Miniature messengers from the past. The 1981 D Lincoln cent, then, is not just a subject of monetary speculation. It is a messenger from a crossroads moment. A reminder of a shift. A time when things were about to change. When copper was about to disappear. When pennies were still made of the same stuff as the centennials. It represents the twilight of the real penny era. It holds the echo of Lincoln and the echo of a country at a turning point, and that is why it remains endlessly fascinating. Not just to collectors, but to storytellers, historians, and dreamers. Because every time you look at one, you're not just seeing a coin. You're seeing an idea. An ideal. A tiny round legacy that has outlived recessions, wars, administrations, and every attempt to phase it out. The penny remains. And within the world of pennies, the 1981 D may very well be the king. The last noble warrior of the Copper Age. The one coin that might just carry, unnoticed, the weight of millions, or the weight of history, and so the search continues. Quietly. Patiently. In coin shops. In basements. In attics. In drawers. In the soft sound of coin rolls opening. In the magnified glare of an eager eye. The 1981 D Lincoln cent waits. And it whispers to those who know how to listen. There is something curious, almost obsessive, that happens when a collector sets eyes on a goal. It could be the missing link in a rare coin set, a unique die variety, or the cleanest strike ever recorded for a particular year and mint mark. For many, the hunt for the perfect 1981 D Lincoln cent is not just about curiosity, it's about conquest. Completion. Bragging rights. Ownership of a piece of American minting history that nobody else can claim. This is the quiet fever behind the world of registry sets. It's where collecting evolves into competition, and coins stop being coins, they become trophies. Registry sets are where collectors log their most pristine certified coins into public or private collections hosted by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC. Each coin is scored not just by grade, but by rarity, condition, and presence in that registry. The collector who holds the finest known example of each coin in a specific category, say, all Lincoln cents from 1959 to 1982 in mint state red, can achieve the top rank in the registry. This title comes with prestige, envy, and incredible valuation leverage. Suddenly, a coin that cost $10 to grade becomes worth thousands, purely because it completes a number 1 ranked set. Now imagine a 1981 D Lincoln cent that appears in this ecosystem, but not just any specimen. Imagine one that surpasses all existing examples, an MS-68 plus red, or something even more mythical, an MS-69. With sharp details, full luster, and flawless surfaces, this coin would shake the registry hierarchy like an earthquake. Every top-ranked collector who has built their set around a high-grade 1981 D would be forced to reassess. To outbid. To chase. To pay. The entire structure of competitive collecting would shift. And with it, so would the price tag. That's how a penny reaches values nobody expects, and here's the wildest part, it's not just elite collectors in on the chase. The modern collector base is expanding. The rise of YouTube channels, social media groups, and online coin communities has democratized access to knowledge and opportunity. Millions of people, young and old, now study die varieties, grading techniques, strike characteristics, and auction results from the comfort of their homes. They're no longer limited by geography or access to physical coin shops. They buy, sell, and trade across borders in real time, often with more precision than traditional dealers. It's a digital renaissance for numismatics, and the 1981 D Lincoln cent has become a recurring star in these new age forums. Every time a high-grade example appears online, it causes waves. Screenshots get shared. Debates rage. Is it worth resubmitting for a better grade? Is that doubling in the lettering or just a trick of the light? Is this the transitional alloy variant? Every minor detail becomes major. Even the weight, down to the 100th of a gram, can trigger hours of speculation. Because a slightly lighter or heavier 1981 D penny might indicate something else entirely, a wrong planchet. The holy grail of minting errors. And those who know what to look for are always watching, and then comes the auction house. The place where legends are minted. Heritage auctions. Stax Bowers. Great collections. These aren't just sales platforms, they're stages. When a rare coin hits one of their catalogs, it becomes a headliner. The promotion begins. Email blasts. Magazine features. Preview videos. Live bidding events. It becomes an experience, one where the price rises with every click, every paddle, every breath. And when a 1981 D penny of superior grade, with a confirmed anomaly, hits this level, if it ever does, it will not go unnoticed. It will break records, and here's the thing, the people who attend these auctions, either in person or online, are not casual buyers. They are fund managers, private collectors, celebrities, historians, and ultra-high net worth investors looking for alternative assets. For them, a $5 million coin isn't just a collectible, it's a long-term store of value, hedge, a diversification play. And when the coin in question has a pop of one, a legendary story, a tie to Abraham Lincoln, a mint error, and a perfect grade, the price ceiling breaks wide open, and then come the headlines. Suddenly, every major news outlet is covering the sale. Social media explodes. Financial blogs try to unpack what just happened. School teachers discuss it with students. Pawn shops and coin dealers see lines out the door. People check their change for the first time in years. Families search through old jars and boxes in closets. Everyone wants to be next. Everyone wants their moment. Their penny. And it all traces back to one copper disc from 1981. Minted in Denver. Bearing Lincoln's face and an unimaginable secret. It's a story that's perfectly suited for this moment in history. We live in a time of rediscovery. Of revaluation. Of realizing that what seemed worthless yesterday might be priceless today. NFTs, rare sneakers. First edition books. Vintage video games. Trading cards. Digital art. Everything is getting a second look. And coins, especially those tied to legacy, history, and national symbolism, are experiencing a renaissance like never before. The 1981 cent fits this moment like a glove. It's rooted in the past, but its value lives in the present, and possibly the future. It's the underdog. The quiet achiever. A coin that once jingled forgettably in a cashier's drawer may now be seen as a masterpiece hiding in plain sight. And in this world, that kind of transformation captures imaginations, and this is where speculation collides with reality. Because while the idea of a $765 million penny sounds mythical, the path to that valuation, rarity, perfection, provenance, market timing, symbolic power, emotional demand, is very real. We've seen it happen in art. In collectibles. In real estate. And yes, in coins. All it takes is the right coin, in the right grade, with the right story, at the right time. So the question isn't if the 1981 Lincoln cent is valuable. It already is. The question is how valuable. And what happens when someone finds the one? The coin that defies all odds. The perfect copper strike, sitting untouched for decades, glowing red with history, certified as a miracle. That's the moment everything changes. The moment that coin becomes not just a penny, but a monument, and so the hands continue to sort, the scales continue to weigh, the magnifiers continue to search, and the dream continues to live. The dream that something extraordinary might be hiding in the ordinary. That one coin, long overlooked, holds a secret no one saw coming. That in the bottom of a tin can, or tucked behind a drawer, or hidden in an old wallet, there might be a penny that's not worth 1 cent, but worth more than all the change you've ever handled in your life combined. That's the thrill. That's the chase. That's the power of the 1981 Lincoln cent. It always begins the same way: a quiet afternoon, a forgotten drawer, a shoebox in the attic, a jar of coins that hasn't been touched in years. A moment of boredom turns into a casual glance, a quick sort through copper and silver. And then something strange happens. One coin catches the light differently. One edge seems sharper. One date appears oddly perfect. And curiosity sets in. That's how it always starts, never with thunder, but with a whisper. There's the story of the Midwest retiree who inherited a cigar box full of junk change from his grandfather. Inside, buried among hundreds of common cents, was a near-pristine 1943 copper Lincoln penny, one of only a handful known to exist, a wartime error that never should have made it past inspection. That coin changed his life overnight. Or the tale of a 16-year-old student who discovered a double-die 1955 cent in a $25 box of pennies from the bank, sold it for 5 figures, and jump-started his numismatic future. These aren't urban legends. They're documented realities. Every few years, someone stumbles onto what experts call a numismatic miracle, a coin that was never supposed to survive, never supposed to exist, or never supposed to be this perfect. And the 1981 Lincoln cent? It sits at the edge of that miracle category. A coin so ordinary that it's become legendary. A coin struck in the millions, yet hiding rarities so powerful, so unexpected, they continue to defy the statistics. Imagine this: an old veteran, long retired, sorting through his grandchildren's piggy bank for fun. He finds a few older coins, 1960s, 70s, and then he spots a brilliant red 1981 D. It's flawless. Uncirculated. He sets it aside, wondering why it looks so different. Months later, after a trip to a local coin show, it's submitted for grading. When the results come back, they're almost unbelievable. MS69 red. Population, 1. The only one. And suddenly, this quiet moment turns into headlines, phone calls, and an endless stream of offers from collectors and investors who would give anything to own the best-known example. These stories touch people not just because of the money, but because of what they represent. Hope. Surprise. The idea that there's still magic hidden in the ordinary. A reminder that sometimes, treasure is real, and it's not buried deep in some jungle or locked in a billionaire's vault, but sitting in plain sight, waiting to be noticed. That's why coin collecting is different from most hobbies. It's not passive. It's not about owning something rare just to lock it away. It's about the story. The hunt. The connection. It's about walking into a flea market and leaving with a $10 item that turns out to be a $100,000 anomaly. It's about feeling something in your gut when a coin doesn't look like the others. It's about believing in the possibility, however remote, that you might be holding history in the palm of your hand. And the experts? They live for these moments. Numismatists, graders, historians, they all understand the pulse that runs through the community when a rare coin surfaces. They gather around it like astronomers around a new planet. They measure it. Photograph it. Debate it. Is the strike full? Is the luster natural? Could this be a new die variety? Is it a transitional error? Or something even rarer, a test strike that somehow escaped destruction? Every new coin is a new chapter. Every discovery has the potential to rewrite the book, and so, when a perfect or anomalous 1981 D penny appears, it doesn't just excite one person. It excites a world. It gets published in Coin World. It trends in forums like the coin community and Reddit's r/coins. YouTube creators make deep dive videos. TikTokers react in shock. Numismatic Twitter lights up. And the auction houses, watching everything, reach out. Quietly. Privately. Wondering if the owner is willing to sell. Willing to let go of a piece of history for a price that most people will never earn in a lifetime, but it isn't always about the price. For some, it's about legacy. There are collectors who keep their finds, not because they can't sell them, but because they don't want to. Because they know the value isn't only in the money, it's in the moment, the story, the emotional gravity of holding a miracle that no one else can claim. That is the true weight of a coin like the 1981 D cent. It's not measured in grams, it's measured in impact, and here's the incredible truth: somewhere, right now, another one may be waiting. A flawless strike. A misaligned die. A wrong planchet. A deeply lustrous red tone, perfectly preserved. It may be in a forgotten bank roll, in a junk bin, in the possession of someone who has no idea what they're holding. And that possibility, that infinite, tantalizing maybe, is what keeps the world watching, because coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a portal. It connects you to the past. To the present. To a world where anything is possible. And in that world, even a 1-cent coin, struck in a Denver mint over 40 years ago, can become a global sensation. Not because it was meant to. But because fate had other plans, and so, the story of the 1981 D Lincoln cent continues. A story not yet finished. Not yet fully understood. A story still unfolding in pockets, drawers, jars, and auctions around the world. A story that might one day lead to the most extraordinary discovery in modern numismatics. And when that day comes, when the perfect coin is finally confirmed, graded, and shown to the world, everything will change, but until then, the whisper remains. The search continues. And every cent has a story waiting to be told. The story of the 1981 D. Lincoln cent isn't frozen in the past. It's evolving. Because the world it inhabits, this ever-growing universe of collecting, trading, grading, and speculation, is transforming before our very eyes. Technology, once a spectator in numismatics, has become its heartbeat. It pulses through every trade, every auction, every new discovery. And it's accelerating everything. Artificial intelligence has quietly entered the world of coin authentication. New software models trained on millions of images are now able to detect microabrasions, counterfeit patterns, dye characteristics, and toning irregularities with greater consistency than the human eye. AI doesn't get tired. It doesn't miss details due to lighting, bias, or emotion. It analyzes, compares, and categorizes with terrifying precision. And it's already making its way into the grading rooms of the most elite certification services. Machines are learning what perfection looks like, and what it doesn't. That means coins like the 1981 D. Lincoln cent, especially high-end specimens, will be subject to even more intense scrutiny going forward. And that's a good thing. Because in a world filled with clever fakes, doctored surfaces, and deceptive marketing, only authenticity will survive. The coins that pass these new standards, the real miracles, the true one-of-a-kinds, will not only retain their value. They will explode in value, and then there's blockchain. Tokenization. The future of ownership itself. Rare coins are entering the digital economy, not just as physical assets, but as tokenized collectibles, complete with immutable records of provenance. Imagine a world where every certified coin has its own NFT counterpart, a digital certificate not just of grade, but of ownership lineage, trade history, and market value over time. Transparent. Traceable. Trustless. A coin like the 1981 D, when it reaches legendary status, might live in both worlds, protected in a physical vault, but traded globally through digital contracts that recognize it as one of the rarest small-denomination coins on Earth. It's already happening. Companies are now offering digital coin vaults, fractional ownership in top-tier rarities, and smart contracts that allow collectors to buy, sell, or even lease the visibility rights of their coins. In this new system, a single cent can become the centerpiece of an entire marketplace. Imagine bidding on the right to display a $10 million penny in your metaverse gallery, museum exhibition, or luxury brand campaign. Suddenly, the 1981 D. Lincoln cent isn't just a coin, it's intellectual property. A brand. An icon, and with that status comes influence. Cultural, historical, even political. Lincoln, after all, isn't just a president, he's a symbol. Of unity. Of leadership. Of resilience. His image, stamped on billions of coins, speaks silently across generations. And when that image appears on a coin that defies the norm, breaks records, and astonishes collectors, it resonates deeper than simple numismatics. It becomes a representation of how greatness can emerge from the smallest, most overlooked places, and that's exactly why the 1981 D cent, in its finest form, is poised to become a cornerstone of 21st century collecting. It stands at the intersection of everything: history, scarcity, symbolism, technology, competition, and belief. Belief that something extraordinary can come from the ordinary. That a coin most people ignore could become the most sought-after small-denomination strike in U.S. mint history. But let's take it even further. Let's imagine what happens the day a new 1981 D specimen surfaces, one that is not only flawless in condition but exhibits a previously undiscovered dye variety. Maybe a faint doubling in God we trust. Maybe a repunched mint mark under microscopic magnification. Maybe even a transitional alloy error from a leftover planchet that was never meant to be used. When that coin is discovered, catalogued, and authenticated, the ripple will be instant. Collectors will lose sleep. Dealers will re-examine inventory. prices will soar overnight. Every 1981D in circulation or storage will suddenly become a suspect in the next big find. This has happened before. The 1969 double die cent. The 1972. The 1995. All were overlooked until someone noticed a detail that didn't match. And now? They're legends. Household names in the collecting world. Valued, admired, and surrounded by stories of discovery that echo through decades. The 1981D is waiting for its moment. And many believe that moment is just around the corner, because history always repeats itself, especially when people stop paying attention. That's when the bold step in. The observant. The dreamers. The patient. And they're already watching. They're scouring rolls from banks, sorting through estate sales, revisiting their childhood collections, scanning coin after coin, hoping, praying, that they'll be the one to rewrite history, and it only takes 1.1 cent. One die. One condition. One miracle. That's all it takes to trigger the next great event in numismatics, and when it happens, when that penny is found, graded, and revealed, the world will take notice. Financial media will swarm. Collectors will reprice their entire inventory. Auction houses will prepare for a bidding war like none before. Museums will inquire. Billionaires will make offers. And ordinary people will once again begin checking their change with new eyes. It will be the kind of moment that validates an entire hobby. That confirms what collectors have always known, that treasure is real. That history is alive. That miracles are hiding in plain sight. And that the 1981D Lincoln cent was never just a penny.